All right, Ken, it's Wednesday.
This reminds me of the days we used to do this early.
Right. So here we go, guys. Welcome to um, Inflatable Falcon podcast. We'll see you in a few.
Let's go.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I've been running scams on the street since I was 10.
Hey, hey, Mike, what do you see? A falcon that inflates for free. Hey, hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Left, right, left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. So grab your gear and join the crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars and a galaxy far. The Falcon's ready, let's raise the bar. Hey! 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 Hey, hey, Mike, what do you see? A falcon that inflates for free. Hey, hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Hey! Hey! Left, right, left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. So grab your gear and join the crew. Mike and Ken got a show for you. Laughs and stars and a galaxy.
We made it.
Yay.
We made it. We made it. So, Ken, this cold. I was looking for a Hoth background, and I accidentally put a Tatooine background. So
Wishful thinking, my friend. You wish for the warmth.
I know. If anyone says why do they have a Hoth background, I just was looking. I wanted tauntauns in the background, and I just So, Ken, where can people find you in our intros?
Well, in terms of social media kind of stuff, you can find me on Facebook as Ken Bishop. You can find me on Instagram as KennyG1134. Podcast wise, and all your podcatchers like iHeartRadio and Apple Music and Spotify. Here with you, occasionally bounty hunting across the galaxy with Todd and Ken. I've got my own little show called The Rambling Star Wars Fan, and every so often I sit down around the Dejeric table with the guys from Bantha Milk Podcast. And I know you got a whole bunch of stuff out there too.
Yeah, I'm catching up to you, Ken. So I help Zoe with Star Wars Geek Girl, StarWarsGeekGirl.com, TheNeilNation.com. I also Inflatable Falcon, Hinton Star Wars Family on here on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and the 501st Cast, the official podcast of the 501st Legion. Restarting that up. We are recording our second new episode this Saturday, so it will be out on February 5th. Sorry. I'm going to say May the 5th until we actually have one for May the 5th.
And then you'll probably say June.
Yeah, so I'm doing that, so you can find me there. So that was that's where our intros are if anyone's looking for us. If not, here I have I was looking for all our. I'm trying to be a better person of running the boards. So we are, I think we're streaming live on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube right now. So if you are watching on one of those platforms, please try to chime in. The chat does not always work for all of them. So
yeah, even if they just mention, we're catching you on this thing.
Yeah, or a thumbs up or whatever you want.
Just let us know that you're out there.
Yeah. So this is Inflatable Falcon podcast. We talk Star Wars. We probably have a little more to talk about this week than we have in the past, but we always seem to film the time. So first, let's go to Costume Corner. All right. Did you work on any costume stuff this weekend?
I didn't work on it, but I did get a delivery from Hinton Industries.
Ah, yes.
I got a pair of gauntlets for my post-Imperial Mandalorian kit, complete with greeblies, and I'm looking forward to, getting them ready for the cosplay season.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm glad I could get you those. I still think there's probably stuff in my garage that I was supposed to bring to you too. So, hi Anthony, how you doing? So I still think there's probably when it's warm enough for me to be in my garage and not be in physical pain from the cold, I will probably find a box marked Ken's stuff. And
frostbite is not something that should accompany costume creation or construction.
Yeah, well, and I could heat the garage with the heaters I have, but it takes it's a dedication of like an entire day. And I remember in the past when I heated the garage, then someone opened the garage door for something benign, like, I'm looking for the snow shovel, and then there goes like 16 hours worth of heat, so
in one swoosh.
Yeah, in one swoop. So I'm doing that. Yeah, it's funny, Ken. Your camera went out again, Ken. Is your cat climbing?
Great.
It's funny that you said Hinton Industries, though. This summer when I was at the Marvel campus at Lucasfilm, or not Lucasfilm, at Disney, they have Stark Industries, and it's painted in I took pictures of it because I was like, in the near future I want to clean my garage out and just paint it all. And I thought I liked that logo, and I was going to do Hinton and Daughter Industries in that same logo, like a green stripe around the whole middle of my garage.
Nice.
It's just funny that you said that. I have like 7, like the people looked at it, I was weird because I was just taking pictures of the one ride. It's just painted on the wall like a random. I just like that look. It's just funny that you said that. Brought memories back of seeing the mechanical Spider-Man swing around the.
Yeah, that's a different kind of robot there, man. Something that's created that you can literally fling across space. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's when you guys said Hinton Industries. That was pretty good. Yeah. So my costume corner, I think I did a little work on my voice changers because I got my not a commercial. I paid for this. I bought this wireless mic. This plugs into your whatever you're using, and then you can wear this. You don't have to have any wires running from your head and stuff like that. But I found it doesn't work on my ROM FX for my Stormtrooper, but it does work on my voice changer for my Vader.
Okay.
Which was the main reason. I just didn't want one more wire to run up into the helmet. So this way I just put the earpiece on, put my baklava on, and I don't have to worry about an extra wire or something like that.
What are those microphones that actually wrap like closer to to the voice box? What are
Yeah,
those?
there's a throat mic. You can get a throat mic, and then it usually has an earpiece. It's
Okay.
and I thought about that. I just wondered, like with my Vader, if the helmet, because of the way the helmet sits, I wondered if it would pick up like all that movement.
Okay.
I looked at those. The problem is their price range is weird. Like they're super cheap or super expensive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like,
With
because I
nothing in between. Because I'm gonna guess they're not designed for costumers. They're designed for other, whether it's, I think
they're
one of my
military.
uncle's
Yeah,
friends, military, police, or like folks who ride motorcycle quite often.
yeah.
You know.
So I mean, it'd probably be worth it because I like with the mics I use for my TK. What destroys them most of the time is just the moisture.
Okay.
Like I used to have 3 mics in my kit, and if on a hot day I could wear one for about an hour, and it would just fuzzle out. So I just swap it out. In my younger days of trooping, but yeah, it's usually, I think that's where your price point as you go up, it makes them slightly more durable in that regard.
Gotcha.
But that was pretty much my costume corner, and double checking to make sure I did find, when I was looking through your stuff, I did find my big box of Mandalorian pistols, the little tiny ones.
Oh, the hold up blasters.
Yeah, because I thought, man, did I get rid of them when I did a big purge in my garage? And I was like, nope, I found the tub of those. So that might be if we get snow apocalypse, they might be something fun to just yank out, glue a bunch together, and slap some paint on them.
Nice.
But yeah, I was glad to get you the gauntlets, which then leads into our next thing. Here, let me get my ticker out, because we have not done this in forever.
Especially at the same time in the same place.
Right. We trooped together.
Yeah,
So,
that was awesome.
yeah, there we go. Troop time. I knew I had a troop time one somewhere. There we go. Whoops.
Yeah, it was that fast. Like it literally was that fast.
Yeah, it was troop time. So it was the Philadelphia Gaming Expo. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Yeah, Philadelphia Gaming Expo. Not the typical troop for the Mando Mercs or the not the typical one for the Mando Mercs or the all the other costuming groups, the 501st, stuff like that. But it was what made my day was that little TK kid and the little rebel officer or rebel soldier, which was pretty cool. But yeah, that was D&D players, and I think it would be safe to say that probably half of the people there were older than me. At least half.
Maybe. I mean, it'd be interesting if we had done a census of just the number of people there, period, as visitors.
Yeah. But I mean, there were some old school D&D players there. Like,
Well, there were guys there that talked about knowing, the
Gary Gygax and all that stuff.
Yeah. So the guys who the one gentleman says he used to work really closely with the folks from TSR.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had a couple pictures. Safi went to take pictures, but Safi's not a heavy-handed with the camera as much as I am. So she took a few pictures, but it was a good troop. I mean, it snowed, so anyone in the area knows. It snowed quite a bit that past weekend. More, I mean, for what we get now. Like I think last year we didn't get any snow, did we?
maybe a day's worth, but it wasn't. It didn't last very long. But this one was enough to cause some slowness on the road. Well, some slowness on the roads and stuff.
Yeah, it added like an hour to my drive. Like it made an hour and 5, 2 hours and 5, I think. So, but yeah, the snow was, and but it was. I think we were the only ones kitted up on Sunday.
Yeah,
there was a Mando and a TK walk into a bar.
And I think I was just gonna say, it sounds like the beginning of a Star Wars joke.
Yeah.
Now we just have to come up with a good punchline for it. But I think with those kind of events going forward, especially if we have an inkling that we're gonna be there together, to plot out or plan out some opportunities either for photographs or brief videos or whatever, so that we can either share them here for folks to see or or just put them up in general on social media. I thought you did a great job, sharing the pictures that you and Safi did get during the day.
Well, and I think if I would have known it was going to be that not crowded, I would have probably contemplated bringing some kind of computer, and you and I could have just podcasted live if I would have, because we could have had any table we want because of the weather and stuff like that. I mean, the Mando Mercs had a good display up, but I think they were the only display there that day.
Yeah, because the 501st was there on Saturday.
Friday and Saturday.
They packed their stuff up, and the droid builders were there, from what I understand.
Yeah, and they packed up too. So
yeah.
And I will say, so to toot the Mando Mercs horn, the toot their horn. I mean, where's my chat button's not working. To toot the Mando Mercs horn is if you get to see the Pennsylvania Mando Mercs. What's the clan called in Pennsylvania again?
The Maviola clan.
Yeah, the Ravioli clan. Oh, good. ESB, you know, TK, good. That's cool.
What's SKG? I'm not familiar with that.
Star Killer
Garrison.
Yeah, that's Western PA.
Okay.
But the Mando Mercs had these, I think they were like legal. Was that legal size paper?
No, I think what they printed it out on is 11 by 17 or 11 by, I think it might be a little bit bigger than legal paper.
All right. Well, anyway, they had these, they look like placemats almost. And they had such beautiful pictures of different Mando costumes, and they explained I don't understand the Mando Merc stuff. I'm a stormtrooper. Like, just show me what I have to put on it and let me build it. But they showed the cool custom things. I just thought that was a really neat touch for them.
Yeah, well, one of the cool things about the Mercs costumes is not only do you get to make it custom if you want, you also have the ability to choose what era you want your costume from. And there are slightly different requirements or, I think requirements might be the right way. Different requirements for those costumes. So, for instance, the Din Djarin costume that a lot of folks see, that's considered post-Imperial. Boba Fett, his armor, which has that diamond in the chest and the two chest plates and the ab plate and a collar piece with shoulder bells, that's considered modern. And there are some variations that can be put into place for those kits. And it was really nice to see it on one double-sided slice of paper. So if you want a post-Imperial costume, here are some of the requirements, and here's an example of what one would look like, a custom one would look like.
Yeah. Well, and like I was driving home and I was thinking about those things probably more than I should have. And I pictured just my mind was spiraling away. And I pictured like an Apple store, but Mando store. And you go up to the Mando bar and they bring out the little, I just thought those things were really nice. Not only to help explain to people, but you could have multiple people looking at those at a table, and help and have people helping explain. I like the books. Like I know Old Line used to have like a 3-ring binder with every CRL in it.
Yeah, and they have something even cooler. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called the Mando Maker. It's an online application where you can go to it. And I don't know the web address off the top of my head, but you can select the pieces that you want, and very similar to Fortnite costuming. It'll show you I think the front, side, and back view. So if I wanted this kind of shoulder bell and this kind of chest piece, what would it look like? If I wanted a helmet with one rangefinder or no rangefinder, I mean, so it's nice because you can print that out, and if you're at all artistic, or even if you don't print it out, but you keep it on your computer, you could paint it and say, hey, this is the kind of colors that I'm looking for.
Nice.
Or this is, I want to have, this insignia or this clan logo on this shoulder bell, or I want to put a blast wound here, battle damage and stuff. So you can do some of that prep work before you sit down and actually start putting the pieces together physically.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I was talking to like those. It was like 3 gentlemen, young guys, I mean, I don't know how old they were. They were younger than me, but I think they were playing one of the role playing games and they taking a break. And I was talking to them, and that's what I was explaining to them about. What's really cool with the Mercs is you do have that customization. Where you know.
which is great, and at the same time, it can be wildly overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
let's say you want to be a TK. I mean, I don't know, there's
Yeah.
maybe a dozen versions of the TK, but with
Yeah.
the custom Mando, the same armor, it's literally nearly endless in terms of what you can and can't do, in terms of customization.
Yeah. Well, that's what. Yeah. If like like I said, it's sometimes easier in the 501st, and I'm not. When I say easy, it's relative. So don't everyone like send me a message saying it's very hard to make a costume. It's the part of the decision making is made for you. Like we have Anthony who does in Empire Strikes Back TK, and I do a New Hope TK. It's a relatively set guidelines. I don't know much about the Empire Strikes Back. I just know they have a black mouth. That's all I know.
The frown.
The frown is black, and so that's you're right. It's because that can be overwhelming depending on what you want. But the custom Mandos, I still every time I play Fortnite, I'm like, I really just want this costume. So
I think one of the things that we could consider doing this year is reaching out to the folks from Galactic Armory, let
Yes.
them know that we want to do this, and almost put ourselves, a little project in mind where you're working on this custom, I'm working on that custom, and we, kind of, plot our progress, chart our progress, and so by Halloween or whatever, we'd have a custom one done.
yeah,
But I don't
well,
want to add another costume to my list of things that need to get done.
yeah, well, I'm on a purge mission here, so I've been purging. The next thing going up is my, some of the like I have the Death Star and the Droid Factory. I'm like, yeah, they're going, they're getting out of here, So that makes me, I'm doing that in the mindset of more room for costumes and less distractions. So we shall see. But yeah, we because we have who works at Galactic Armory?
Sean.
Oh yeah, Sean. Sean works. So yeah, he said he'd give us a tour of his shop or whatever. So we have to take him up on that.
Yeah,
one
it
of
could
these
be
days.
a great field trip, a great opportunity to do some interviewing, and even, quite possibly get some suggestions on their stuff from them, rather than just which we can get the files and all of that kind
Oh
of
yeah,
stuff. But it'd be kind of cool to just to talk with the makers of the stuff.
yeah, yeah. I think my one Boba Fett helmet I bought from them because I'd bought a bunch of Boba Fett helmets and they were all just slightly off. It's just, and then I just because John was a big Galactic Armory guy. I think John. That's where John got his armor, I believe.
Yeah, I bought a hunter's knife, Hunter from the
nice.
Bad Batch. I just have to figure out how to um, mount it to a gauntlet in such a way that I can easily take it off and store it in transport.
Do you have the file?
No, I just bought
Oh.
they have some of the smaller things that you can just
You just buy straight up. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
just buy the things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a really cool prop because the blade itself is separate, the handle is separate, and the sheath is another. So it's actually three parts that you put together. And what I think is cool is in the handle and the sheath, there are places for, they've already figured it out in the print file, where there are small indents where you can put magnets.
Oh, nice. Yes.
So that the knife will actually stick to the sheath. So if you do have it on a gauntlet, it's not going to go fling it out on you.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that kind of advanced thinking of how can we make this so that it's practical to use and not just a cool display piece, which it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, that was a fun troop. I wish we had more people there, but
Yeah, and I owe you a huge thanks for for letting me know about it. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, well, they didn't. It was weird because it wasn't really promoted either. I just saw it on the boards. I was like, well, I'm not doing anything on a Sunday, and it was a 3-day weekend. So I was like, sometimes if I troop on a Sunday, it makes Monday work a little more difficult. So the 3-day weekend was just nice. I'm just, it was a fun troop. It was so. Anyone out there? I guess around here, there's not going to be any troops this weekend if the weather keeps going how it's going, but who knows?
And even though it was it was primarily 99.9% a role playing thing. We were able to discover some of the Star Wars role playing things.
Oh,
whether
yeah.
it's the vintage 1980s miniatures, or even some of the source books for some of the Star Wars games. They weren't loud and proud. You had to go hunting
Right.
for them. But it was cool to go on a little discovery journey and find some of them scattered throughout.
And the West End games, those West End games figures. If someone wanted that, you could have bought the whole set. Like I think he had almost every box set of the West End games.
Yeah, he must have had, it was probably 9 or 12 different sets of those miniatures. And when I say miniatures, I think those are miniatures. Like I don't think
they're the old D&D. They were the Grenadier lead miniatures. That was we're just so used to. I think the miniatures have gotten bigger, like the Whiz Kids, and the plastic ones that are painted have slowly gotten a little bigger than those little.
There was the one set of figures that Safi was looking at that had interchangeable pieces. And one of the cool things about that set, and I apologize for not remembering the name of this company because I'd love to give them a plug on the show. So at first they were just action figures, and they designed a game that can go with those action figures, even to the point where they talked about being able to level up your character. So once you get a certain number of experience points, you can get this. You could legitimately swap this kind of armor for it, because all of the arms and the legs and the weapons and the heads were interchangeable from figure to figure to figure.
Well, and Safi used it in college. She used it for a lot of her drawing classes.
Oh, so like one of those
wooden ones. Except
yeah,
this would have all the, you could have a sword in its hand and all that stuff. And I printed. I think even that company, there's people that make files you can print. I printed like a head and a helmet for one of them a while back.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I forget the name of that. I should probably that would have been something to write down. But that was a cool company. And then there was all kinds of like sewn wizards hats. I wish they would have made one big enough to fit over the TK bucket.
There had to be at least 2 different vendors that were. I didn't realize, that cloth wizard's hat was such a commodity, because there was, a couple of vendors that had those, and then at least a dozen different vendors had the what's it called, the dice rollers or dice towers?
The dice towers. Yeah, well and almost everyone had some Star Wars. I don't know if they knew we were going to be there but they had like the wizard's hat. There was a Star Wars wizard's hat.
Yep.
There was, so it was a fun time. I mean, Oaks, PA, the Oaks, that center is always worth going to, just because of the layout. You never feel crowded in one of those.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a couple other events there this year. They do RetroCon every year there. And so it's definitely
there's another con. There's another con because Zoe did a panel there. Not the best for panels, just because of sound. We've done it because they just drape it off, and then you just get echoes of, But that was a good troop.
Well, there is that one small room near if you're in section A where this event was.
Yeah.
There's a small room near the front of the building that could be used for a panel setup where you've got the tables and chairs for the panelists, and then theater style seating for the guests.
I don't know if we were in that one last time though. That could have been part of what it was.
Yeah, because I remember I think there's at least 4 or 5 different sections of that building that are used for various events, whether it's, we went there once and in another section they had cards, memorabilia cards, whether it's
Oh yeah,
sports cards or trading cards and that kind of stuff. And then we were there once, and they had an entire reptile exhibit.
I was there with Safi with her. We were looking at the reptile exhibit. Yeah, you could buy when we went to the reptile exhibit. You could buy, you know, them giant land tortoises, like those big
Yeah.
ones. They sold little baby ones that will grow into those.
The ones that live to be like 80 years old.
Yeah, yeah, you could buy one of those.
You have to leave those to a family member in your will.
I don't know what I mean. Like that's like one of those pets. Like, what do you do when it's like, you know, 300 pounds and it just wanders around your backyard? Like, what do you do in the winter? Like, where do you,
Yeah.
you know? But
Even some of the snakes that can get larger depending on what and how often you feed them.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I've been to the reptile convention there too. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Which leads us into our, let me see, Star Wars news. Because we missed some. Because last week we did the live recording of The Empire Striketh Back. So you missed some of the biggest news in Star Wars was Kathleen. I hate saying stepping down. I feel like saying Kathleen Kennedy retiring. That sounds more like,
Yeah, both of those are accurate.
yeah, but I mean stepping down always sounds like you're like you kind of gave up. Like retirement sounds to me. Retirement sounds better. Maybe
Well, from what I understand, though, she's not really retiring, because I thought, and this is just my interpretation of it, I thought she was going to continue to work as a producer for various projects.
right. Yeah, I just mean retiring from the head of the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if I don't know. Stepping down always just seems. I don't know. We have to come up with a different. That's not retirement, but not stepping down. I don't know.
Changing positions.
Changing. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's stepping down, and then I forget the woman's name now. We have Dave Filoni is co-president, and we all know who Dave Filoni is. So Dave probably gets the most praise and accolades. But Dave Filoni is co-president with, as Ken uses the internet to find the answer.
Dun, dun, dun. Hold on one moment. I'm gonna get it shortly. I know it's there. It is, and hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Lin-Wen Brennan as
Okay.
the co-president. She's going to be, from what I understand, what is it? The executive president part of it? Is that what her title is?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, yeah, I just, I would imagine that they're having two because for two reasons. First thing, because I thought Kathleen Kennedy was great, so they needed to, but probably mainly to use each of their strengths.
Yeah, I mean, Dave's been involved in the creation side of things for a very, very, very long time. Even before he joined Star Wars, he was involved in things like Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think he was involved slightly. Maybe I could be wrong with this. The SpongeBob show.
And then she was Lin-Wen Brennan she's been with Lucasfilm even longer than Dave. So that's two good people. Like I was happy with Kathleen Kennedy too, but that's two good people running the company, which sounds good to me, and maybe
when you look at it, there are really two main parts of that kind of an organization: that creative side of things, the how do we come up with new characters, new locations, new stories, which is one skill set, and then knowing the finance and the timing and all of those kind of things, that's another skill set,
right? Well, and when George did it, because it was all his money, he didn't really need that one side of it.
Well, and at the same time, though, he did it as he went.
Right.
We're at a place now where they can't really rely on hopes and dreams and rebel passion.
Right. That's what I mean. It's just the nature of the growth of the company.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable. But yeah, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with both of them being president. I'm going to try to make sure that I give Lin-Wen, or if she goes by Lin, or give her as much credit as Dave. I just know when the TV Guide came out with the I think it was a CD-ROM, and it had the interviews with Dave Filoni, and when it first came out, with Dave Filoni's interviews, Zoe showed me him. Zoe introduced me to Dave Filoni, and when they come out, 2009, 2008.
2008 is when the Clone Wars movie came out, so it had to be around that time.
Yeah, when it was in TV Guide, and that's Zoe introduced me to Dave Filoni. So, and for those that are really young, TV Guide is a book you used to have to buy to tell you what was on TV at a certain time.
Yeah, exactly. When it would be on time, if it wasn't preemptive by a sports event or a natural disaster or a presidential, announcement of some sort.
I mean, imagine how weird that sounds to people. Like you had your TV. And you had to, like, we never bought TV Guide when I was a kid. We got the one that came in a Sunday paper. It was like a poor man's TV Guide, but you literally had to go out and find a booklet to tell you what was on television.
Yeah. Well, and what's really funny about that, it was far fewer channels then than there is now. And even when they went to cable television, there wasn't I don't remember there being cable entries in the TV Guide.
No, you might have got lucky. Like if you bought the actual TV Guide, it might have had like the HBO and the Cinemax and the those 5 or 6 movie premium companies. Yeah, but it was a while before like MTV and all that showed up on those.
Yeah, and then they went to almost like there was a guide channel.
Yeah.
You had to go to the channel guide to find out when something was, and you had to wait for it to scroll through. And it like you said, it was a different time then.
But that's where the TV Guide. They had some cool covers, like the Phantom Menace. I think had a 4-set,
including one of them was Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, 4-set covers. Then I think they had covers when they re-released.
And to your point earlier, sometimes they'd even give you the extra bits where it was either a small poster or like you said, a CD-ROM, which is really funny to think about now.
Yeah,
and I'd love to get my hands on one of those CD-ROMs.
What was funny was when I went to play the CD-ROM, I couldn't get it to play right, so I had to buy a external DVD drive to plug into my computer, and I couldn't record the files just because they were so old, the way they were burnt on the thing. So I actually had to play them in a window and record it with QuickTime. And then I don't know if you like when I record audio off of QuickTime, I have a little adapter that I can loop the mic into the headphone so I don't get any, and that's how I had to record those videos to like save them. So
the good old days.
Yeah. All right, we got Lily jumping on, so thank you for that.
Good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
But yeah, so that was some news. And then the other news that kind of snuck by us too is all the changes to Batuu.
Well, and the changes aren't done yet. They're in the works.
Right.
And not only are they changing some of the rides related to Batuu, so they're changing Smuggler's Run to include a Mandalorian and Grogu story in it. They're even changing the setup. There's going to be an original trilogy section of Batuu, changing some of the names of the shops, and there's going to be a sequel trilogy section of Batuu. And going back to the original trilogy setup, they're going to have some of the classic characters there. So you'll be able to see Darth Vader walking around Batuu, or Luke Skywalker or Han Solo in that section of Batuu, and which I still don't understand why they're deciding to separate it geographically.
Right.
When they could just say for this time period, let's say it's noon to 2, it'll be the original trilogy folks everywhere, and then from 2 to 4 it'll be sequel trilogy characters.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're doing that to preempt people complaining. You know, like, oh, here's because I just picture them like walking wherever they want because they still got to walk to the same dressing area. You know, like
Yeah, but they, from what I remember of the setup of Batu, there's multiple places in which they can come out. So, for instance,
that's true.
there's a section of Batu where somebody can walk down the ramp of that Echelon class
Oh yeah, that's true.
shuttle.
Yeah,
So you don't see them go into the shuttle; you just see them come out of it.
yeah.
And
That's
then there's
true.
another set of doors that characters can walk out of.
By
So
the Falcon.
there are definitely secret hidey holes in there where folks can
Yeah.
enter the park and not be seen.
I just think it's cool. I mean, it's kind of funny because they had Luke there already, you know.
Only
So,
because he was in the Mandalorian. They had
yeah.
that version of Luke.
Yeah. Hang on, I got my chair. I think my chair went screwy. I don't know. Let me stand for a second. Let's get my chair. Yeah,
So
they had
I'm-
Luke and they also had Sabine, which was
Mhm.
not really in. She would have been that Sabine. You know, that's a weird time area too. You know, because they had the young Sabine in the, you know, so she didn't look like 60-year-old Sabine that would have been in the New Order time frame. So
Well, I wonder, and unfortunately, I don't get to sit around the table when these conversations are taking place. I wonder if this means that we're closer to the return of Star Wars weekends.
well, yeah, that could be too.
I would, and I know that some of the costumes that were on the performers during Star Wars weekends were not as close to accurate as they are now.
Yeah, yeah.
However, considering it's Disney, considering the partnerships they have with like Legacy Effects, I think is one of the companies that did some of the costumes for the newer stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully they would be able to, have like clone troopers out there, Asajj Ventress out there again,
Yeah.
Kylo Ren and all of those characters out and about, and even to the point where, one of the coolest parts I thought was these Star Wars weekends were like mini celebrations.
Yeah, yeah.
They would bring the voice actors, they would bring the performers to the park, and for a certain section of the day, you could get autographs from them, and there were
For
other
free.
parts for free, as long as you were willing to get up super early and stand in line before
the
the park.
lot.
I remember the one year Heather and I went, we got in line at 4 a.m. and there were already people there before we got there.
Yeah, well, that's how it was for and we only knew about it, but because the person at the trading post saw, I think Zoe was wearing a shirt, and they said, "Oh, are you going to get Ashley Eckstein?" And this was when, and we were like, "What?" And he said, "Just go here at this time." So
Yeah, because they do a parade through, and they had members of the 501st, and
yeah,
I think it was back before the Mando Mercs were really a respected costuming group.
yeah, yeah.
But now that they have all of this, it would be a great time to bring it back.
Yeah. We got a question.
Sure, let's hear it.
I'm always concerned. It's but yeah, I well, and also Judah is now a friend of ours. Judah does a lot of the painting. He's in charge of all the painting for the costumes now. So you actually have someone who's worked on the shows, working on the costumes in this. Here we go. Here's Keanu Reeves. What was the question? Darth Rep. So I will have to be perfectly honest with you. That game is one of my blind spots in the D&D or in the D&D in the Star Wars world. I like the videos and I like the concept of the game, but when it first came out, I was like in a place in my life where playing video games was not as big of a thing for me.
Yeah, I think Keanu Reeves could be a very interesting addition to Star Wars. And it is interesting to think about it. We're in a time now where the more well-known actors and actresses are sought after, and in some cases doing the seeking to be involved in Star Wars. Because way
Right.
back when in the 70s, you know, when George was putting these together, he deliberately chose lesser known actors and actresses, and um, partially because he didn't have the budget to afford higher ranking actors and actresses, but also from the perspective of wanting it to be a fresh face, a new uh, someone who wasn't known by everyone, so that they didn't see them in this role and think of them as something that they'd already been in before.
Right. And
Um,
honestly, I trust Disney or Star Wars, Lucasfilm. I always say Disney, but Lucasfilm is still its own separate company, even though it's owned by Disney. I trust their casting because I think of like the first time I was concerned about Star Wars casting was Solo. I was,
Woody
and it,
Harrelson.
yeah, it was Woody Harrelson. It was like, am I, is he going to remind me? Is he going to, because he played so many iconic roles, and not for a second did it even cross my mind. And so, I would say Keanu Reeves would probably do very good at that. Natalie Portman, any of these stuff that come back, any of this stuff, I think would be good if it's done right. I mean, you know, I like when they stick famous people in a TK suit and you just know that behind the scene that was Prince so and so or that was James Bond. To me that's cool. I mean, I get sad because that's one less spot for some Joe Schmo like us, but I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, and we're now at the place where some of those Joe Schmoes we know.
Yeah. We have. I mean,
Still
we have
years.
Steele was Ajax Citizen in the Kenobi show.
Well, Steele, remember the Dad Batch?
Yeah, John was calamari, one of
Yep.
the calamaris.
And and then there's the folks that we've interacted closely with throughout the years. I mean, I don't know him nearly as well as you do, but Chris Bartlett's been in a bunch
Oh
of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
It's really, really cool to see that. I'm just waiting for that email or that phone call where someone says we want you to contribute an article to this, or we'd love to have you be a pirate in season 2 of Skeleton Crew.
Right. I just want to hear season 2 of Skeleton Crew. But yeah, I mean, I think again, Keanu Reeves is another one of those people that my one thing in my head was say, hey, I'm worried about that. But then the next one I would think would be, well, if Woody Harrelson could do it, I'm sure Keanu Reeves could do it. I just don't know enough about Darth Revan to be told. I like the costume. I think it's cool, but I don't know enough about Darth Revan. It's the same with Mara Jade. Like Mara Jade is another one of those characters I don't know that much about.
The only time I ever thought like that, and this is going to sound silly, I apologize ahead of time, is when they said that Wanda Sykes was going to voice one of the characters in the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
And then when I heard her in that character's role, it was perfect. Like
Yes.
it was fantastic. And I didn't even, like, to your point about Woody Harrelson, not for a moment did I'm like, oh, that's Wanda Sykes.
Right.
It was just
Right.
like, that's C. Like that's
Yeah.
it was wonderful. And I think we're at a place now, going back to what I was saying about we're picking higher level actors and actresses are wanting to be part of Star Wars. Look at Andor as an example. The guy who played Luthen Rael, or Luthen Rael, I think is probably the strongest one in that category. Just the delivery of some of his monologues, and then when you bring folks back into it like Genevieve O'Reilly to play Bon Mothma, and the way that she was able to perform, or someone to the caliber of the gentleman who played Cassian Andor, where
Oh yeah.
he's an actor.
Diego Luna.
Yeah, Diego Luna. He's an actor, and from what I understand, a director and producer in other movies. So it is really nice to see some of those, true actors and actresses get their chance to be in a Star Wars. And I still would really love to have someone, ring my phone and say, will you be in the background of Star Wars?
Well, and I think Revan is going to be one of those tough characters, like any other character that comes to screen is it's the same with when Ahsoka first came. There was a little bit of backlash to the Ahsoka character because people wanted Ashley. You know what I mean? It took a little while to get that.
Yeah.
And I think Revan probably even more so than that, because so many people have played that character, that it is going to be a tough one to make everybody happy if they're not careful.
Well, look at Thrawn as an example of
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
So the Thrawn that we got in Star Wars Rebels and in the Ahsoka show is not the Thrawn from the original trilogy of books that he was in.
Right.
And it's fantastic.
Right.
Absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. So if they do it, I know that the people behind the scenes will have put a lot of thought and effort and energy into it, and they've got folks like them or not, you've got folks like Pablo Hidalgo and Leland Chi, the keeper of the holocron, to be able to look at all of those things and help put together a reasonable, respectful, fantastic version of that character in this whatever it is, whether it's a live action show, a movie, or an animated thing.
Yeah. Again, I'm curious if they go back that far, because if we would have got a second season of Acolyte, I would have said that the Old Republic would have been even a better chance, but who knows?
Yeah.
I think they just kind of swing back and forth, like new, old, and you just kind of have to widen that base out a little bit to get people.
Yeah, and one of the things I've definitely learned over the last 2 or 3 years related to Disney and Star Wars and what they announce and what they put out there is they're going to put it out there. Like I'm less worried about them telling me that this thing is coming in the next 3 years, because recently there's been some things that I didn't even know were coming.
Yes.
And I was so glad. Like there's a new video game coming out,
Yes.
about speeder racing.
Yep.
I didn't know they were working on one.
Right.
And today, I don't know if you saw it, there was an announcement today that tomorrow there's going to be a new trailer for Maul Shadow Lord.
No. I saw a bunch of Maul stuff, but I thought it was related to another story we're not going to talk about.
Yeah, we're going to stick just the Shadow Lord.
Yeah.
Shadow Lord.
But
But
we're just going to talk. Yeah. Well, that's the good Star Wars. We've said this on this show before, time again. Sometimes knowing what's behind the curtain is a two-edged sword, in the sense that we see all this stuff and they just have stuff churning and not everything gets made. That's just how it is. That's just business.
The Hunt for Ben Solo is a great example of that.
Yeah, and now they're just making.
If they had announced that they were going to make the Hunt for Ben Solo, you would have had, a certain number of people that would have said, "Oh, that's the dumbest idea ever," and another certain number of people that said, "This is a great idea," and then some people in the middle like, "I don't care," but
yeah. So, but yeah, that's a long answer for that. I hope that helps. But I trust, and now that Dave and all his people are in charge. But yeah, Shadow Lord trailer. I gotta catch up. I've just been podcasting and costuming stuff and stuff like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, and Shadow Lord, if I remember correctly, I think that's coming out later in the year. I thought it was in the fall.
Yeah.
Between now and then, we've got something even more exciting about, and that's the Mandalorian and Grogu movie that comes out in May.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that for a couple reasons. One, I just want to see Star Wars in the theater again. Oh yeah, man, this isn't a Master of the Universe trailer, but
whether we have the power or not.
Yeah, that's going to be a good. That's what movies should be. Movies should just be the fun, goofy movies that you can sit. Not saying it's goofy in a bad way, but it should be the fun movies. I missed out going to the Lord of the Rings just due to trooping and stuff. I wanted to go see one of the Lord of the Rings in the theater when they were back in.
Well, I thought there was some theaters that were doing the marathon where you could see all three of them. Unfortunately, I didn't get to it either.
Yeah,
the Labyrinth in the theaters again too.
See, I've never seen that movie.
Come on.
I've never seen that. Was just there's some of those 80s movies that I never saw. And that
Well,
was
so I'm going to encourage you. You don't have to do it, just a suggestion. So one of the things Heather and I have decided for 2026 is one movie each month that we watch has to be one that either we've never seen before, one of the two of us have never seen it before, or one that we haven't seen in more than 5 years.
okay. Well, there's a lot of those movies that, like, I think people would say I'm not allowed to be an 80s kid, but
Like the Goonies.
I've never seen Goonies through. I've never seen all of Stand By Me. I've never. Let me try to think. Last Starfighter, I've never seen. Labyrinth, I've never seen. Trying to
Have you
think.
seen Mac and Me?
Huh?
Have you watched Mac and Me?
No.
What?
I don't even know what that is. I've never even heard of that movie.
It's like E.T. It's a lower budget E.T.
I've never seen that. I've never seen
I think it's got Paul Rudd in
Short Circuit. I've never seen any of those.
it. Any of those?
No.
Yeah, so right there you have an easy list of a dozen movies that once a
Yeah.
month. You don't have to. It doesn't have to be. You watch them all today. Pick one this month. You got a couple days left. You got 10 days before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Pick one of those that you've never done, and it's probably on some streaming platform.
I should probably watch Labyrinth because I think there was a Sierra Online game that I played for that. I just never watched it. You know, just certain. I mean, I didn't go to movies when I was a kid. Like I probably only went to a handful of movies ever. And we had a black and white TV with 3 channels till I was like in 10th or 11th grade. So
Yeah.
I mean, VCRs weren't even available. That I was in high school when like VCRs were like $800 or something like that. So
Yeah, so pick one of them this month and watch one.
yeah, I got homework now, but
I mean, for instance, one of the movies that's on our list is Heather's never seen Gone with the Wind.
oh yeah.
So we're gonna watch that this year.
My grandmother loved that. That's just a long one, man. That's like the Marvel movie before there was Marvel movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you remember Gandhi? Gandhi was like 4 hours long or something like that.
Yeah, I've never seen that either. That Gandhi, I've never got through Schindler's List because I was just so sad. Like I could never get through Schindler's List.
You're gonna have to turn, according to Sue, you got to turn in your Gen X council.
I know.
I'm glad Sue's feeling good enough to put up with the two of us tonight.
Yeah, well, here let's move on to talking about last week for our recording of The Empire Striketh Back. So if you missed, I think probably everyone listening was on the show, but if you missed it, we did do Act 2.
Yes,
Act 2 and February 25th. Is that right? The right date? February 25th.
it could be.
We're recording Act 3. And I put a sign-up sheet, which I got once I get through Saturday with the 501st cast, I will put up a new page and everything. But we have a nice sign-up sheet, so I don't have to do Leia again. You know, so that was traumatizing to my vocal cords. And Ken just started laughing, and I couldn't
stop.
I couldn't breathe.
I could not stop. I apologize. You couldn't even look at the camera.
I know. Well, I was trying.
Line.
I was laughing so hard.
I think there was a couple times I had to turn my microphone off because I was afraid that my laughing was going to cover up Leia's lines.
Yeah. So I do have a spreadsheet there. I think the link is in that group. I'll put another one up, but I think we have most of the things filled. Most of the people filled. So,
nice.
But that was a lot of fun. And the Mandalorian book is coming out, so we might be at least be able to do the first act before the Mandalorian movie.
Is that a goal? I don't
know. I just saw the book on my Amazon buying list or whatever, and I was like, I think we might have time to at least get one act done for the Mandalorian. I'd love to hear.
Imagine though that's like the first season or something.
Yeah, I would think it's the first season. You know,
I mean, I could be wrong, but
I'm curious to see what voice they give Grogu. You know how they give R2 some weird
Yeah.
some weird lines. I'm curious what lines Grogu gets.
Yeah.
But
Well, considering he's a 50-year-old child.
yeah. He might be
He-
like, oh, my back.
Yeah.
So
I need some lidocaine.
yeah.
All this jumping around and following this guy.
But yeah, but again, we had a good week this week. We had trooping, and we had some good news. I can't remember any other news. There was some pictures of the Starfighter.
Yeah, because I think they finished principal photography.
Yeah, I'm trying to not watch anything about that. I want to go into that's one of the movies I want to try to go in as blind as possible.
Because that's next year, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think I not that I'm sure I'll watch the trailer, but I'm trying to stay away from behind the scenes stuff because I don't want to see what worlds they're on. I don't want to see what they're wearing. I just want to.
Well, and if we are looking further into the future, here's two other things to pay attention to, especially for the listeners of this show. February 7th is Star Wars Podcast Day.
Yes.
So I think the last count I saw, the last tally, there are 62 different podcasts that have signed up to participate in Star Wars Podcast Day 2026.
And I'm involved in 3 of them.
What's the third one?
Zoe's show, 501st Cast, and this show.
I keep forgetting you got that producer line. Yeah.
Yes.
So February 7th, put it on your calendar, get prepared. And like we were talking, like I was encouraging you, to pick one movie that you haven't watched before or haven't watched in a long time to watch it. I encourage anyone on this channel to pick one of the 62 that they've never heard of, never listened to.
Yes.
And just go check it out because there's some cool folks out there, some cool fans out there that have put their efforts into Star Wars podcasting. You might as well give them a listen to. And after Star Wars Podcast Day, I commit to at least a half a dozen announcing some sort of a review of them on this show.
Yeah.
So that the other podcasters know that we're supporting their efforts.
Now, so of the podcasts you are on or have been on, how many of them are on Star Wars Podcast Day?
So there's this one, Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy, Rambling Star Wars Fans, Star Wars Geek Girl, Pod Awakens, Bantha Milk Podcast, Mind the Force, War of the Stars. So that's 8.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so 8 shows that are represented in Star Wars Podcast Day. I've been a part of it in one way, shape, or form because I think this is our 184th or 85th episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
And many of the those other shows have helped contribute to the fact that I've been on over 200 different podcasts. Oh no, because I don't know if the Beskar Bucket's doing one this year or not.
No, but we should hit John up and say, hey, maybe that's the time to come back.
Or put one of your old episodes out.
Yeah. Well, and again, just to lead into our whole podcasting talk, anyone that wants to do a podcast, you don't have. I've had this discussion with Zoe too. Not every episode has to be an hour.
Just ours are over now.
You can just be short. They don't have to. It doesn't have to be, long. So
yeah, the last episode of the Rambling Star Wars Fan was only like 33 minutes.
That was a good episode.
That included 2 musical interludes.
That was a good episode there, Keno. That was,
thanks.
I'm
still trying to figure out how to adjust the audio levels. I don't know how to do that yet.
So here's my thoughts on that. What if you load those clips up in the restream and do it live?
No, I don't have the preparation to do that yet.
Okay, because I was going to say that would keep your levels fine. The other thing is what do you mix them in? Do you mix them in iMovie?
No, I use Wondershare Filmora.
Oh, okay. Because if you put them in iMovie, you might be able to level out all the sound.
Yeah, I don't have that one.
You don't have a Mac anymore?
I do, but I haven't had it hooked up since I got this new PC.
Oh, okay. I used to use Audacity, but I don't know how it does for video. I used to use Audacity to knock the levels. into girls. I didn't think the levels were that bad. So
Yeah, it's just a couple bits where either my vocals were low or the movie levels were high.
yeah,
So I got to figure out how to get them to be closer in volume.
the Adobe Premiere Rush is good, but you have to pay for the Adobe suite for that.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't mind paying like $17 a month or something like that, the Adobe Rush is, you can see the levels and you can kind of pull them down.
Oh, there isn't like an auto tune sort of thing.
There probably is, but my Adobe skills are very limited. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
but yeah, that last one was good. Anyone listen to that, get you hooked on the cartoons.
Yeah, because last year was the 40th anniversary of the Ewoks cartoon, Ewoks Androids, and this year, 2026, is the 40th anniversary of Ewoks Battle for Endor. So you can expect me at least at some point this year to talk about Battle for Endor, the one with our buddy Wilford Brimley.
Yeah. Who was younger than I am when he was in those movies.
Yeah, and it was the first on-screen appearance of Teak, the little character who showed up in the character and probably the same species, not the same character, who showed up in Port Borgo in Skeleton Crew.
And does that have blurgs in it too?
Yes, that's the one with blurgs and the Marauders,
blurgs,
which Dave Filoni loves because they showed up in Rebels and The Mandalorian.
And that was a dark. All those Ewok movies were pretty dark.
Well, definitely the second one.
Yeah.
I mean, not to spoil it for any of you who haven't seen this movie that's 40 years old, shame on you. In the first 10 minutes of the movie, the main character's entire family dies.
Yeah, but they had to. What made it really dark was they had those wristbands that told you when your family member died.
Yeah,
like,
the light just went, bloop, just
yep.
went out.
Oh, I guess I only got 2 left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a that's a tough one.
Yeah, and George deliberately wanted them for that movie specifically, wanted it to be, focused on death and how children deal with it.
Yeah, well, good on George, man.
He's always got a lesson for us somewhere.
Yeah. Well, and then we're looking at a fan expo. I don't know if we'll have a panel, but we're doing the preliminary reach out to see if we can get a panel at Fan Expo Philly. We'll see what happens. Any other news before we head out, Ken?
Make sure you watch the Shadow Lord trailer tomorrow.
Shadow Lord trailer. Yeah. Well,
thanks for another great episode, my friend.
Since Ken said Shadow Lord trailer, I forgot to do it last time. since Ken said Shadow Lord trailer, that means it is time for us to go. Thanks again. Outro. Thanks again to everyone. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and may the force be with you.
Always.
I've been running scams on the street since I was 10. I've been running scams on the street since I was 10.
Hey, Mike, what do you see? A Falcon that inflates for free. Hey, Ken, what's the drill? Blue milk sipping gives me a thrill. The inflatable Falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Costume shop, we're dressed to play. Let's blast off into the fray. Left, we're marching through. Cosplay helmets and a saber or two. Hey, Mike, what's the plan? To nerd out harder than anyone can. The inflatable Falcon takes the flight. George Lucas dreams in the starry night. Falcon.